Let's say China.
China.
China. China.
There are no storm movers, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Hello and welcome. I am James Andrews and you are listening to So This Happened. Quite possibly the only news you will ever need. It's Thursday, the 13th of April, 2017, and it has been a crazy day in the news. But before we get to that, I do have to let you know that this program is brought to you today by Pussy Grabbers. Yes, the hottest new nightclub in South Miami. And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Welcome to paradise. This is Pussy Grabbers, the hottest spot north of Mar-a-Lago. Everyone here is a 9 or a 10. You'll come for the pussy, you'll stay for the chocolate cake. Is a 9 or a 10. You'll come for the pussy, you'll stay for the chocolate cake. Welcome to paradise.
Well, there it is. And you heard it here first. And I, for one, cannot wait to go down there when I'm back in South Florida. Anyway, it's Thursday, and this is a really weird Thursday. Today, Donald Trump was called Martin Luther King for healthcare, and Dr. Dow, who got dragged off a plane, was referred to as an Asian Rosa Parks. And that is the last time you're going to hear me mention hashtag United Airlines, because I am so damn sick of it. I don't care. I really don't. I felt a little bit sorry for him when I watched the video, but then I watched his lawyers today talk about how he was so badly injured and we're going to do a service for all people by suing the hell out of United Airlines and making my client a millionaire. And that isn't actually helping anybody except you, Dr. Dow. Oh, and your family as well. So that's it. I'm not talking about it anymore because I'm really bored of it. It's all we've talked about. Actually, I will say one thing about it. I had a recollection in my brain, which is very jumbled and a really strange place to be. But I had a recollection of something that happened last December where somebody else was dragged off a plane. And I thought it was a black lady. So I did a little digging and it actually was. It was a Delta flight. And she was accused of not leaving the plane. She'd followed she'd broken some rule. And they called the police, and the police possibly tased her. It's hard to say from the video. And then they just dragged her out the aisle and she just was limp like a sack of potatoes. But the question here is, where was the outrage then? Okay, you turn on the television right now, all you see is bloody United Airlines beat up a passenger, all these little memes, which are quite funny, I suppose. Well, they were funny yesterday. Today they're not funny at all. You've even got little Republicans. Mike Huckabee tweeted one yesterday, and oh God, it was actually quite sad. I felt sorry for him. But you see what I'm saying? So the exact same thing happened in December to a black lady, and nobody mentioned. I was talking to some people today. I said, "Do you even remember that?" And none of them could remember that ever happening. So I had to pull up the story on my phone. I said, "Look, this is it. Here it is. It happened." So that's it. No more talk of United Airlines. And of course, we can't stay away from Syria, where President Bashar al-Assad said in an interview with AFP News Network that the chemical attack was a complete 100% fabrication. So he's kind of keeping in lines with the Russians, who are still saying the same thing, that it wasn't Assad's regime, it was the rebels that had the chemical weapons. And this is going to be one of those things where I hope we do get to the bottom of it, but I suspect we won't get to the bottom of it. We'll probably just drop more bombs. And speaking of which, the US military today dropped what they are calling the mother of all bombs on ISIS in Afghanistan. Now, the bomb they dropped is the most powerful non-nuclear weapon that the US has in its arsenal. It was first tested back in 2003, but it has never been used until today. Now, I was reading some facts on this particular bomb, and it has a blast radius of 1 mile. That is really, it's staggering to me. Think about a mile, and that's how big the explosion was that they created. Now, they say it was dropped on caves used by ISIS in Afghanistan. And, you know, you want to believe them, but at the same time, I mean, this is... I'm going to come across all peace-nicky now, because I really don't like war, and I think peace is always a better option if you have it. And I think a lot of times you can have it. I know that Trump said he's going to dig out ISIS and I'm going to, you know, get rid of them. It's really difficult to get rid of terrorists because they're not an army. You see, they don't have a base, a city. They're everywhere. I mean, you know, anybody could be one, as we've seen, unfortunately, recently with all these people who are just driving trucks and cars into pedestrians. Anybody, anywhere can be a terrorist. So to root them out is very, very difficult. Now, to drop a bomb of this magnitude on a country is really, really sad. And I don't want to bring you all down because it's not quite Friday, but it's it left me flabbergasted when I read this, and when I read it's a 1 mile blast radius. To think of who could have been killed on that, and not just humans, but think of all the animals. And here we go. I'm going to come across as a big animal lover because I am. I think most animals are nicer than people. It's really sad that had to happen. Now, President Trump is not saying whether or not he gave the green light for this, but I think reading between the lines, to drop the biggest weapon that we have, non-nuclear, on a country, that has to come from the White House, doesn't it? I mean, there's no way some general said, yeah, you know what, you remember that bomb we had in 2003? Yeah, that big fucking, yeah, the one that one, yeah, let's fucking drop it on these on this mountain, these caves. Yeah, we can do that, right? Yeah, you just do it. Just say it was me. No, I don't think so. I mean, this had to come from the White House, right? I think Donald Trump got a little bit of taste of war the other day with Syria, and I think he quite liked it. And that is actually one of the things I was most concerned about with Donald Trump. This is a man who thrives on power and winning. And when somebody like that all of a sudden can drop something that powerful and do that much damage to another country, the power rush that he must feel is incredible. And that does scare me a little bit. And I don't want to scare you because it's all going to be fine. Don't worry about it, you know. But it is a little scary. And now we're going to look at Donald Flip-Flop Trump. Yeah, in the last 24 hours, the man's flip-flopped about 6 times on issues that he was for and now he's against. So the first one today, and this is my favourite one because he's got a new friend, I think. I think the president of China and Trump have become really good friends. So now China is now no longer a currency manipulator. And you'll remember when he was campaigning, he was very miserable about China. And we played some things that he'd said about China. You know, they raped America, that they were the worst thing in the world. But he's now decided that actually, no, they're not too bad, actually. They're not a currency manipulator at all. They're really quite nice. And flip-flop number 2 is Trump now respects the federal chairwoman. Now, in his last campaign, he had an advert that depicted Janet Yellen, who's the head of the Federal Reserve. She was a member of a shadow globalist economy. Oh, she controlled levels of powers and Washington. It was a very, very tin-hatty sort of thing. But today he told the Wall Street Journal that he respects her. And that, you know, she's pretty great. So, flip-flop number 2. And flip-flop number 3, federal hiring freeze has been dropped. On the first day in office, one of the things that Trump did was he signed a order that said that non-military federal workers no longer allowed to hire anybody. Well, as of today, that has gone away. That policy is no longer in effect. Now, the White House Budget Director, Mick Mulvaney, said, does not mean that the agencies will be free to hire willy-nilly. And not really an essential quote, but I just really like the word willy-nilly. And flip-flop number 4, the Export-Import Bank are no longer unnecessary. In August of last year, Donald Trump, in a Wall Street Journal interview, said that the Export-Import Bank, they were unnecessary, that they had a lot of excess baggage. Now, what the bank does is it provides taxpayer-backed loans for the purchase of US exports. But now, today, in his interview with the Wall Street Journal, he said it turns out that lots of small companies are really helped. So that one's been reversed as well. And flip-flop number 5, Donald Trump is now a fan of NATO. You'll remember in his campaign, he was very negative towards NATO. Kept saying that they were useless, they were pathetic, we don't need NATO, we'll do this ourselves, America first, which is what people wanted. That's why people voted him in, right? America first. Well, today, he said, NATO is no longer obsolete. A direct quote, NATO is no longer obsolete. What do these flip-flops mean? To me, couldn't care. Most of them I'm fine with. To his supporters, to the people who voted in Donald Trump, you have to think that they're going to look at this and say, okay, we voted for him because he said this, 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 and this. He has now reversed his position on this, 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 and this. So therefore, the premise on which we elected Donald Trump is no longer what he's fighting for. Does he still represent us? It's a good question. A lot of people have to be asking that, but it'll get spun around, don't worry. The spin is magic. Sean Spicer, by the way, in his press briefing today, and I'm not going to beat up on him because I promised yesterday I'm not going to beat up on Sean Spicer anymore. He was very subdued today. Very subdued. Oh, you see what I did there? Subdued. And continuing with Donald Trump's pretty bad Thursday, his Mar-a-Lago kitchen was cited for food safety violations. More than a dozen violations in the kitchen at his Florida resort were found. It included broken fridges, which meant that meat and fish were kept at temperatures that are deemed unsafe. The tap water is not warm enough to properly sanitize employees' hands. And there was rust on freezers and a few other things like that. And let's talk... Oh, well, okay, so we're not going to talk about anything because Trump Vader's here. He has just walked into the studio and he's looking rather dashing. So you've come to read your tweet? You have? Okay, he's going to read his... You want... Okay, yeah. Take the microphone. Yep, go ahead.
Things will work out fine between the USA and Russia. At the right time, everyone will come to their senses and there will be lasting peace.
Well, that was really nice, actually. That was good. Let me ask you a question, Trump Vader. When are you going to come to your senses? He's shrugged. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Well, anyway, let's give him a round. You know how much he loves his round of applause. So let's give Trump Vader a round of applause. It's not quite as big as yesterday, is it? It wasn't great. Anyway, thank you, Trump Vader. We will probably see you tomorrow. Okay, so on to... Why are you still here? What? Hang on a second. You want to do what? You have something... Okay, Trump Vader has one other thing he'd like to say. So, okay, go ahead.
I would like to wish Susan a very happy birthday.
Wow. That was... for the Dark Lord of the GOP, that was a very, very sweet, Trump Vader. Now, that was lovely. That really was lovely. Anyway, see you tomorrow. And I will actually see all of you tomorrow because it is the end of the show. Another one is in the books. Probably not one that's going to win any awards anytime soon, but there you go. You can always follow me on Twitter at thishappen. Yeah, it is at thishappen. I know we talk about it every day. You know by now, don't you? Anyway, thanks very much. Oh, and I did want to give a quick shout out, actually. I was looking at the subscriber list yesterday, and there's some folks over in Ireland who are enjoying the program. So, hello over there. And I'm not going to insult you by doing, what the politicians here did, and all that top of the morning bullshit. And I'm really not going to pour a shitty Guinness and say cheers. But anyway, everybody, thank you so very much, and I will chat with you mañana.
Welcome to paradise. This is Pussy Grabbers, the hottest spot north of Mar-a-Lago. Everyone here is a 9 or a 10. You'll come for the pussy, you'll stay for the chocolate cake. Is a 9 or a 10. You'll come for the pussy, you'll stay for the chocolate cake. Welcome to paradise. This is Pussy Grabbers, the hottest spot north of Mar-a-Lago. Everyone here. Welcome to paradise. This is Pussy Grabbers, the hottest spot north of Mar-a-Lago. Everyone here is a 9 or a 10. You'll come for the pussy, you'll stay for the chocolate cake. Is a 9 or a 10. You'll come for the pussy, you'll stay for the chocolate cake. Welcome to paradise.